Wild About the Zoo is presented by the Hutchinson News in partnership with the Hutchinson Zoo.
Hi, welcome to Wild About the Zoo. I'm Adam Stewart with the Hutchinson News, and with me today are Ryan VanZant, Zoo Director, and Shanay Chambers, who works in the Cargill Wildlife Rehab Center here at the zoo. Can you tell us about the rehab center here?
Well, we've had this rehab facility for about 30 years, ever since the zoo's been open. And the Cargill Wildcare Center has been over here since 2010. We had a flood at the zoo, and Cargill donated the funds to pay for this awesome facility.
What kinds of care do you provide for animals here at the rehab center?
Well, when animals come in, we assess their condition. So we get animals all the way from orphan baby animals up through eagles that can come in with all different types of injuries or sickness. We get a lot of car and window collisions, a lot of domestic cat attacks on birds. That happens quite often throughout the year. So it can vary quite a bit, from relatively minor to pretty severe, and we evaluate them with that initial triage here, see if it's something that we can treat or is within the scope of what we treat. Because we can't take all animals here. We do have some limitations. For instance, we do not take raccoons, we do not take skunks, we do not take deer because they have a further risk of rabies, and we also don't want to endanger our collection here.
What are some of the most common animals you do get in to the rehab center?
The main animals that we see in here, tons of cottontail rabbits, lots of fox squirrels, your average songbird, robins, blue jays, grackles. We also don't take starlings or pigeons because they're considered invasive species.
Okay.
We get some neat stuff too, though. It's not ordinary. We've had bobcats come through, we've had foxes come through here. So we do get some really interesting things. Lots of small reptiles and birds as well that you don't see every day, but come through from time to time. We had a peregrine falcon a little over a year ago that came through and was rehabilitated and released back into the wild.
How many animals come through the rehab center in a typical year?
The last 3 years that I've been here, we've had about around 550, a few more, give and take. So quite a few animals.
And we also, to add to that, we have around 70 to 75% success to release percentage, which is really high among the rehab world.
Is there a particular time of year that's really busy for the rehab center?
Right now. It pretty much starts around March and goes through, it kind of tapers off around September. A good half of the year we're really busy over here.
Lots of babies come in during that time, so that's when you have a big influx of animals that need a little help to survive out there.
Okay. What are the circumstances where somebody should think about, capturing an injured animal in the wild and bringing it in? And when should they leave it alone?
One of the biggest ones for that, they say that the statistics show that only about 10% of cottontail rabbit juveniles that come into rehab actually need our help. A lot of times people will find their nest, they dig really shallow nest, so people will uncover it, see the babies, not see mom around, and think that they need help. But in fact, mom only actually comes to feed them twice a day, at dusk and at dawn. She's doing her job to keep predators away, so it's very unlikely that you'll see her. If you find babies, as long as they look healthy and plump, then mom's doing a good job.
Where are the usual places for you to release animals that have been successfully treated?
We look for volunteer properties that we're looking for some natural habitat, more the better, and we have a number of volunteers that offer up their properties so that we can release the animals there. And we always need more, so if anybody is interested in some of these animals and has a good area for them to be released, we can definitely take their information down and be happy to have them help us. Well, we always take volunteers as well, so if somebody has a real interest and it's got to be a pretty deep interest because it takes a lot of time and a lot of experience to learn how to care for some of these really small animals. So if someone has that interest, they can sign up to be a volunteer here. We'll get them started with easy things, and the more hours they put in here, the more that they'll get to do.
Well, thank you very much. This has been another episode of Wild About the Zoo.